My parents didn't forget my MIT graduation gift. They priced it at $25. The card slid under my dorm door at 6:47 a.m. crumpled Hallmark envelope, Dad's handwriting. Congrats on MIT. Here's lunch money. Your sister needed the wedding fund. $150,000. You understand. $25 for 4 years of electrical engineering. 3 hours later, I walked across Killian Court holding that card. 2,100 graduates around me. I placed it on my empty parents' seats, row C. Seats 7 and 8. A classmate's father photographed those empty chairs, that $25 bill sitting alone. Posted by noon. 890,000 views by dinner. Dad's entire Boeing engineering team saw it. Mom's hospital staff. Then my sister's wedding planner called donors were pulling out. The acceptance email arrived at 6:23 a.m. on a March morning that rewrote my entire future. I was 17, sitting in my high school's computer lab during zero period, refreshing my inbox every 30 seconds like some kind of obsessed robot. My finger hovered over the mouse. Refresh. Nothing. Refresh. Nothing. Refresh. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Office of Admissions. My hands shook so badly I almost couldn't click it. Dear Jordan Chen, congratulations. It is our pleasure to offer you admission to the MIT class of... I didn't read the rest. Couldn't. The words blurred into a watercolor of impossible dreams suddenly made real. MIT. The actual MIT. Where geniuses built robots and coded artificial intelligence and changed the world before they turned 25. And they wanted me. But it was the second email, the one that arrived 4 minutes later, that made me cry right there in the computer lab, silent tears dripping onto the scratched-up desk. MIT Financial Aid Office. Your scholarship package. Full ride. Every penny covered. 4 years. $67,000 per year. $268,000 total. Room, board, tuition, books, everything. I'd done it. Against every odd, every doubt, every late night studying while my sister Vanessa partied through community college. I'd actually done it. The first person I called was Dad. He answered on the fifth ring, voice rough with sleep. Jordan? It's 6:30 in the morning. I got in. My voice cracked. Dad, I got into MIT. Full scholarship. They're paying for everything. Silence. Not the good kind. Not the stunned, overwhelmed, my daughter is brilliant kind. The empty kind. That's great, sweetheart. His tone was flat, distracted. Listen, your mother and I are still asleep. Can we talk about this later? I got into MIT, I repeated, quieter. I heard you. Congratulations. We'll celebrate when you get home. A pause. Your sister's here, by the way. She has some news, too. My stomach clenched. What news? She'll tell you herself. See you tonight. He hung up. I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to dead air. Around me, other students filtered in for first period. Someone laughed. Locker doors slammed. The bell rang. I'd just gotten into MIT on a full scholarship, and my father had sounded like I'd told him I made the JV volleyball team. That evening, I walked through the front door of our house in suburban Seattle, MIT acceptance letter printed and tucked into a folder like some precious artifact. The living room exploded with noise. She said yes! Vanessa shrieked, launching herself at Mom, who shrieked back. They jumped up and down like teenagers, hands clasped, faces bright with identical joy. Dad stood near the fireplace, grinning wider than I'd seen in years. Champagne bottle in his hand. I stood in the doorway, invisible. Oh, Jordan! Mom finally noticed me, pulling back from Vanessa with flushed cheeks. Did you hear? Your sister got engaged. Vanessa thrust her left hand toward me. A diamond caught the light, massive, ostentatious, probably worth more than my used Honda Civic. Blake proposed last night, she squealed. At the restaurant, in front of everyone. It was perfect. Congratulations, I managed. The folder in my hand suddenly felt stupid. Childish. We're thinking a summer wedding, Mom continued, already scrolling through her phone. Maybe next June? Oh, or August. August weddings are stunning. We'll need to book a venue soon. The good ones fill up a year in advance. That sounds expensive, I said quietly. Dad popped the champagne. The cork hit the ceiling. Nothing's too expensive for our girls. Our girls? I cleared my throat. So, I also have some news. 3 pairs of eyes turned to me, waiting, expectant. I pulled out the folder, opened it. I got into MIT. Full scholarship. Mom blinked. MIT? Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's one of the best engineering schools in the world. They're paying for everything, all 4 years. Oh. Mom's smile was polite, distant. That's wonderful, honey. Dad handed Vanessa a champagne flute. So you won't need our help then. The scholarship covers it. Not you earned this. Not we're proud of you. Not MIT is incredible. Just, you won't need our help. Right, I said. I won't need your help. Vanessa was already back on her phone, scrolling through wedding dresses. Mom leaned over her shoulder, pointing at a gown with a cathedral train. Dad refilled glasses. Nobody asked about my major, or my acceptance rate, or how many students MIT accepted each year. Answer: 1,410 out of 20,000, and 75 applicants. Nobody asked anything. I stood there for another 30 seconds, watching my family celebrate Vanessa's engagement like she'd just won a Nobel Prize. Then I walked upstairs to my bedroom, folder still in hand, and closed the door. I didn't come down for dinner. The pattern had always been there. I just hadn't wanted to see it. When I was 10, I won the regional science fair. First place. My project on solar panel efficiency beat out 40 other kids, including an 8th grader who'd built a working robot. My parents took me to Denny's, ordered me a sundae, took one photo. Vanessa's 10th birthday party the same year cost $1,200. She'd wanted a princess theme. They'd rented a bounce house, hired a face painter, invited 30 kids. The cake alone was 3 tiers with edible glitter. My science fair sundae cost $4.99. When I was 14, I made honor roll for the 3rd year in a row. Dad said, "Good job, kiddo," and went back to his crossword. That same month, Vanessa got her driver's permit. They bought her a car used, sure, but still. A car. A silver Honda Accord with leather seats and a sunroof. She needs transportation for work, Mom had explained when I asked why Vanessa got a car 2 years before I even got my license. Vanessa's work was a part-time job at Sephora that she quit after 6 weeks. When I was 16, I earned a 1,520 on my SAT, 99th percentile. My guidance counselor called it Ivy League material. Mom said, "That's nice, honey," and asked if I'd seen Vanessa's new boyfriend. The boyfriend lasted 3 weeks. My SAT score was forever. I learned early that achievements didn't matter in our house. Not mine, anyway. Vanessa's did. Every small milestone got paraded like a miracle. She passed her community college math class on the 2nd try. Dinner out. She got a new job at a boutique. Champagne. She decided to finally move out of our parents' house at 24. They helped her with first month's rent, security deposit, and bought her furniture. I got good grades, scholarships, awards. I worked 2 part-time jobs through high school. Saved every dollar for college, just in case. Nobody noticed. Or maybe they did, and it just didn't matter. By the time I left for MIT, I'd stopped expecting them to care. I packed my dorm room essentials in boxes from behind the grocery store. Dad drove me to the airport. We barely spoke. At security, he gave me an awkward side hug and said, "Make good choices." That was it. Vanessa didn't even say goodbye. She was at Blake's parents' house, planning engagement photos. Freshman year, I moved into MIT's McGregor House on a Tuesday in late August. The dorm room was tiny, 2 twin beds, 2 desks, cinder block walls painted beige. My roommate was a girl named Priya from New Jersey, who talked 90 miles per hour and had already decorated her side of the room with string lights and Bollywood posters. I loved her immediately. Mom and Dad didn't come. They'd said the flight was too expensive, the timing bad. Vanessa was starting her new job as a social media coordinator at a boutique downtown, her 4th job in 2 years, and they wanted to be around in case she needed support. So I moved in alone, carried boxes up 3 flights of stairs by myself, built my IKEA desk with a screwdriver I borrowed from the RA. Priya's parents stayed for 2 days. Her mom cooked us dinner in the communal kitchen, saag paneer, and homemade roti. Her dad helped me assemble my bookshelf when he saw me struggling. "Your family couldn't make it?" he asked, tightening a bolt. "They're busy," I said. He looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. I almost cried. That November, I made Dean's List. Top 5% of my class. GPA 3.94. I called home, excited, hopeful. Mom answered, "Oh, Jordan. Hi, sweetie. How's school?" "Really good, actually. I made Dean's List. My advisor says if I keep this up, I could graduate summa cum laude." "That's wonderful." Her voice was warm, present. For 10 seconds, I let myself believe she was actually proud. Then, "Oh, hold on, your sister's calling on the other line. Can I call you back?" "Sure," I said. She didn't call back. Sophomore year, I landed an internship with a robotics lab on campus. Paid position, $18 an hour. I was one of 5 students selected out of 200 applicants. I emailed my parents the offer letter. Dad replied, "Good for you." 2 sentences. No congratulations. No, "we're proud." Just, "good for you." That same week, Vanessa posted on Instagram about her new boyfriend, a guy named Chad who worked in sales and drove a BMW. Mom commented on every single photo. "So happy for you." I closed the app and didn't open it again for 3 weeks. By junior year, I'd stopped calling home unless they called first. They rarely called first. I worked 2 part-time jobs on top of my classes, library desk shifts and weekend tutoring. I sent money home when Dad mentioned, casually, that the furnace needed repairs, $400. Nearly a month's rent. He said thanks. Vanessa posted a photo of her new Kate Spade purse the next day. I didn't ask. The shift happened during spring break of my junior year. I'd chosen to stay on campus flights to Seattle were $600 I didn't have, and I'd picked up extra tutoring shifts to save for graduation expenses. Cap and gown rental. Senior photos. The deposit on an apartment for my post-grad job search. 3 days into break, Vanessa called. Unusual. She never called me. "Jordan, oh my God, you'll never believe it." "What?" "Blake proposed, like, officially proposed, with a ring and everything." I set down my textbook. "I thought he proposed 2 years ago." "That was a promise ring. This is the real thing. Look, I'm texting you a photo." My phone buzzed. The ring was huge, easily 2 carats. Princess cut. Platinum band. "It's beautiful," I said because it was. "I know. We're thinking a summer wedding. Next year, probably. Mom and Dad are already looking at venues." Something cold settled in my chest. "That's fast." "When you know, you know," she laughed. "Okay, so I need your help. I'm thinking bridesmaid dresses in sage green, but Blake's sister wants dusty rose. Which do you think?" "Vanessa." I cut her off. "How much is this wedding going to cost?" Silence. Why does that matter? Because I'm curious. I don't know. "We haven't finalized the budget yet, but Mom and Dad said they'd help. They want it to be perfect." Help. The word sat between us like a bomb. "They're paying for it," I said. Not a question. "Well, yeah, that's what parents do. They pay for their daughter's wedding." Their daughter. Singular. "Right," I said quietly. "That's what parents do." I didn't hear much about the wedding planning after that, not directly. But I saw it everywhere. Mom's Facebook posts, venue shopping with my beautiful bride. Dad's comments on Vanessa's photos, nothing but the best for our girl. Group texts, I wasn't included in accidentally forwarded messages about catering tastings and floral arrangements and destination bachelorette parties. No one asked if I could afford to be a bridesmaid. No one asked if I'd be able to take time off work. They just assumed. Senior year arrived faster than I expected. By October, I'd submitted applications for graduate programs, MIT's PhD track, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon. My advisor told me I had a strong shot at fully funded offers, research assistantships, stipends, the works. I was building a life, a future, and I was doing it entirely alone. In January, I sent my parents my graduation information. Date, time, location, ceremony at Killian Court, reception to follow. We'll be there, Mom promised over the phone. We wouldn't miss it. Dad confirmed via text. Wouldn't miss it for the world. I let myself believe them. I ordered 2 guest tickets. Row C, seats 7 and 8. Close enough to see my face when they called my name. I imagined the moment, walking across the stage, hearing Jordan Elizabeth Chen, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering summa cum laude, and looking out to see them, my parents standing, clapping, proud. 4 years of sacrifices. 4 years of working myself to exhaustion. 4 years of being invisible. Finally, they'd see me. May 15th started the way every important day in my life had started for the past 4 years. Alone. I woke at 5:30 a.m. in my dorm room. Priya had already left for the weekend. Her family was driving up from New Jersey, arriving early to take her to breakfast before the ceremony. They'd invited me. I'd declined. Today was supposed to be about my family. I showered, straightened my hair, applied mascara with shaking hands. The graduation gown hung on the back of my closet door, black polyester, surprisingly heavy. I'd steamed it the night before. It looked dignified. Official. Like something a person wore when they'd made it. I pulled it on over my white dress, zipped it up, adjusted the gold honors cord around my neck. In the mirror, I looked like someone whose parents would show up. At 6:47 a.m., something slid under my door. I almost didn't notice. I was sitting on my bed, scrolling through my phone, waiting for a text from Mom or Dad. Confirmation they'd landed, that they were on their way, that they'd grabbed coffee and would see me soon. Nothing. But there, on the floor, a crumpled envelope. White, letter-sized. My name scrawled across the front in Dad's handwriting. My stomach dropped. No. No. I picked it up. The envelope was wrinkled, like it had been shoved in a suitcase, or a pocket, or under a door at 6:47 a.m. because the person delivering it couldn't face me. I opened it. Inside, a Hallmark graduation card. Generic. The kind you buy at a grocery store checkout line because you forgot and needed something fast. The front. Congrats, graduate! With a cartoon cap and diploma. I opened it. Dad's handwriting, cramped and rushed. Jordan, congratulations on your graduation. We're so sorry we can't be there. Vanessa's final dress fitting got moved to today, and it's the only time the seamstress could fit her in before the wedding. You understand. We knew you'd understand. Here's a little something for lunch. Treat yourself. Love, Mom and Dad. Paperclip to the card. A $25 Visa gift card. $25. For 4 years of MIT. For summa cum laude. For every late night. Every sacrifice. Every moment I'd chosen this over everything else. $25 and a dress fitting. I sat on my bed holding that card for 20 minutes. My hands didn't shake. My eyes didn't water. I just sat there, reading it over and over. Like maybe the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. Something that hurt less. Vanessa's final dress fitting. They'd chosen my sister's dress fitting over my graduation from MIT. Not even the wedding. Not even something critical. A fitting, and they'd given me lunch money to make up for it. At 9:15 a.m., I walked to Killian Court. The ceremony started at 10. I arrived early. Graduates milled around in clusters laughing, taking photos, hugging family members who'd flown in from across the country, across the world. I walked alone. My 2 guest tickets were still in my purse. Row C, seats 7 and 8. I'd checked the seating chart obsessively for weeks. Close to the stage, perfect view. I found the row, found the seats. Both empty. I stood there, staring at the cold metal chairs. Around me, families filled in: parents, siblings, grandparents. A kid in front of me had 7 people in his row. 7. They were passing around a baby, taking turns holding her for photos. I had 2 empty seats. I pulled out the card, the stupid, crumpled card with its $25 gift card still attached. And I placed it on seat 7, right in the middle, where my mother should have been sitting. The ceremony started. 2,100 graduates, 400 faculty, families packed into every available space, standing room only in the back. I sat in my assigned seat, section G, row 12, surrounded by classmates whose parents were crying, recording, cheering. Behind me, someone's dad kept saying, "That's my boy! That's my boy!" Beside me, a girl named Sarah sobbed into her mother's shoulder before we even started processing. In front of me, row C, seats 7 and 8. Empty. The card sat there, bright white against dark metal. Visible. They called names alphabetically. Jordan Elizabeth Chen, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, summa cum laude. I walked across the stage, shook hands with the dean, accepted my diploma cover empty. The real one would be mailed later. I smiled for the camera, and then I looked out at the audience, at row C, at those 2 empty seats with a graduation card and $25 sitting where my parents should have been. Someone was taking a photo. I didn't know who. Didn't see the camera. Didn't realize, in that moment, what it would mean. I just saw the empty chairs, and I kept walking. After the ceremony, families flooded the lawn. Graduates posed for photos with parents, siblings, friends. Someone popped champagne. A dad hoisted his daughter onto his shoulders, mortarboard and all, while she laughed and screamed. I stood near the edge of the crowd, still holding my diploma cover. Priya found me. Her parents were right behind her, arms full of flowers. "Jordan?" She ran over, gown flapping. "We did it. We actually—" She stopped, looked at my face. "Where are your parents?" "Dress fitting," I said. Her face crumpled. "What?" "My sister's wedding. They couldn't make it." Priya's mom stepped forward. She didn't say anything. Just pulled me into a hug, tight, warm, the kind of hug that makes you realize how long it's been since someone held you like you mattered. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I just stood there, letting someone else's mother hold me while my own chose tulle and lace. By 3 p.m., I was back in my dorm room. Gown hung back on the closet door. Diploma cover on my desk. I checked my phone. No texts. No calls. Nothing from Mom. Nothing from Dad. Vanessa had posted on Instagram a photo of herself in her wedding dress, arms spread wide, caption reading, "Perfect fit, 3 weeks to go." Mom had commented, "My beautiful bride. Worth every penny. Worth every penny." I looked at the $25 gift card sitting on my desk, and for the first time in 4 years, I let myself feel it. All of it. The anger, the grief, the sick, hollow certainty that I had never mattered to them. Not really. Not the way Vanessa did. I'd spent 4 years hoping that would change. It never would. At 8:32 p.m., my phone buzzed. A notification. Instagram tag. I opened it. The photo, row C, seats 7 and 8. Empty. The card visible, sitting alone. My name printed on the stadium screen in the background. Jordan Elizabeth Chen, summa cum laude. The caption, written by someone's dad, a man I'd never met. These seats were empty today at MIT graduation. This young woman walked across the stage with honors. No family there to see it, just this card. I don't know her story, but she deserved better. Posted 2 hours ago. 47,000 likes. 1,200 comments. I stared at the screen, and then I saw the share count. 890,000. It was going viral. My empty chairs, my $25 card, my parents' absence. The whole world was about to see exactly what I was worth to them. The photo hit 890,000 shares by midnight. I didn't sleep. I sat cross-legged on my dorm bed, phone screen glowing in the dark, watching the numbers climb. 900,000. 950,000. 1 million. The comments section was a wildfire. This breaks my heart. She deserves so much better. MIT grad with honors and her parents couldn't show up? Unforgivable. That $25 card is the most insulting thing I've ever seen. Someone find this girl and give her a proper celebration. Every refresh brought another 100 comments, another 1,000 shares. The photo had escaped Instagram, jumped to Twitter, landed on Facebook. Someone had posted it to Reddit's r, raised by narcissists. 12,000 upvotes in 3 hours. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Texts from people I hadn't spoken to since high school. Classmates from MIT I'd only met once. Extended family members I'd forgotten existed. Aunt Rachel, Mom's sister. Jordan, honey, I just saw the photo. Are you okay? Call me. Cousin Marcus. Yo, what the hell? Your parents didn't come? High school friend Devin. I always knew your family was messed up, but this? 47 missed calls, 63 texts. I didn't answer any of them. I just kept scrolling. At 1:18 a.m., my phone rang. Mom. I stared at her name on the screen. Watched it ring once. Twice. 3 times. Ignored it. Voicemail notification. I didn't listen to it. Not yet. I wasn't ready. 2 minutes later. Dad calling. Ignored. Voicemail. 3 minutes after that. Vanessa. Ignored. The calls kept coming, back to back, desperate. I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb and set it face down on my desk. By 6 a.m., I'd been awake for 24 hours. The photo had 1.8 million shares. Someone had created a GoFundMe. Help Jordan celebrate her MIT graduation. I hadn't asked for it, didn't even know who started it. But it was there, and people were donating. $5, $20, $50. Strangers throwing money at a girl they'd never met because her parents had given her $25. The irony wasn't lost on me. I made coffee in the communal kitchen. Priya found me there at 6:30, still in yesterday's clothes, mascara smudged under my eyes. Jesus, Jordan. She took the mug from my hands and pulled me into a hug. You look like hell. I feel like hell. Have you slept? No. Have you eaten? No. She dragged me back to our room and ordered breakfast from the diner down the street. Pancakes, eggs, bacon. Enough food for 3 people. Eat, she commanded, shoving a fork into my hand. Then talk. I ate, mechanically, didn't taste anything. Priya pulled up the photo on her phone. This is everywhere, like, everywhere. My mom sent it to me. She didn't even realize it was you until I told her. Great. Jordan. She set her phone down. What did your parents say? I don't know. I haven't listened to their voicemails. You need to. I don't want to. You need to. Her voice was firm. Because this isn't going away. And you need to know what they're going to say before they say it publicly. She was right. I hated that she was right. I picked up my phone. Opened voicemail. Mom's message, 1:19 a. Jordan Elizabeth Chen, you call me back right now. I don't know what you think you're doing, airing our family business on the internet, but this is unacceptable. People are calling me. My co-workers have seen that photo. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is? We had a good reason for missing your graduation, and you know it. Vanessa needed us. Call me back. Now. Not an apology. An accusation. Dad's message, 1:21 a.m. Jordan, it's Dad. Look, I know you're upset, but this is getting out of hand. That photo is all over the place. My boss saw it. Half my team at Boeing saw it. People are asking questions. This isn't fair to your mother and me. We've always supported you. Always. You got yourself through college. With that scholarship, you didn't need us there. But Vanessa needed us for her fitting. You understand that, right? Family comes first. Call us back so we can figure this out. You didn't need us there. But Vanessa needed us. Family comes first. Just not me. Never me. Vanessa's message, 1:24 a.m. Jordan, what the actual fuck? Do you know what you've done? People are canceling on my wedding. My wedding. Because of your little pity party stunt. Donors are pulling out. The photographer just emailed asking if we're that family. This is my day. Mine. And you're ruining it. Because you're jealous. Grow up. I played that one twice. Jealous. She thought I was jealous. Oh my God, Priya breathed. She'd been listening over my shoulder. Your sister is a sociopath. She's not. Jordan. She just called your viral graduation photo a pity party stunt. She's mad that people are canceling her wedding because your parents abandoned you. Do you hear yourself defending her? I didn't say anything. Priya grabbed my phone, opened the photo. Look at this. Really look. I looked. 2 empty chairs, a crumpled card, my name on the screen behind them, Jordan Elizabeth Chen, summa cum laude. This isn't a pity party, Priya said quietly. This is evidence. At 9:30 a.m., I got a text from an unknown number. Unknown. Hi, Jordan. This is Marcus Webb from the Seattle Times. I'd love to speak with you about your graduation experience and your family's absence. Would you be available for an interview? Delete. Another text. Different number. Unknown. Jordan. This is BuzzFeed News. We're writing a story about family estrangement and milestone events. Can we ask you a few questions? Delete. My inbox was flooded. Journalists, bloggers, podcasters, everyone wanted the story. I didn't want to give it to them. But something nagged at me. Something in Dad's voicemail. You got yourself through college with that scholarship, you didn't need us there. That phrasing. You got yourself through college. Like they'd had nothing to do with it. Which? They hadn't. The scholarship covered everything. But hadn't there been a college fund when I was younger? I had a vague memory elementary school, maybe middle school dad saying something about putting money away for my education. For both girls' futures. Where had that money gone? I opened my laptop, logged into the family's shared Google Drive, the one we'd used for years to share photos, documents, tax records. I hadn't looked at it in months, maybe longer, but it was still there. Still accessible. I clicked into the folder labeled Family Finances. Subfolders, tax returns, insurance, bills, college funds. College funds. My hand hovered over the mouse. Click. Inside. 2 folders. Jordan. Education. Vanessa. Education. I open mine first. Empty. Not a single document. Okay. Maybe they'd moved everything. Maybe it was under a different name. I opened Vanessa's folder. 53 documents. Bank statements. Deposit records. Withdrawal slips. And 1 Excel spreadsheet. Vanessa, wedding, final, budget. XLSX. My stomach turned. I clicked it open. The spreadsheet loaded. Line after line after line of expenses, color-coded, organized by category. Venue, $38,000. Catering, $42,000. Photographer, $8,500. Videographer, $6,000. Flowers, $11,200. Dress plus alterations, $8,400. Bridesmaids' dresses, $3,600. Invitations, $2,100. DJ, $4,000. Transportation, $3,200. Cake, $1,800. Honeymoon Italy, 10 days, $28,047.23. Total, $156,847.23. $156,847.23. I stared at the number. That couldn't be right. I scrolled down. The spreadsheet had notes, comments, justifications for every expense. Venue, Oakmont Country Club. Deposit paid 18 months ago. Non-refundable. 18 months ago. I counted backward. That was right after I'd started junior year at MIT. I kept scrolling. Dress. Designer boutique. Final fitting May 15th. May 15th. My graduation day. The day they'd missed my ceremony for Vanessa's final dress fitting. My hands were shaking. I clicked on the next tab. Payment records. A table. Dates, amounts, sources. March, 2 years ago, $15,000, source, joint savings. June 2 years ago, $20,000, source, joint savings. September, 2 years ago, $12,000, source, Richard Chen 401k withdrawal. December 2 years ago, $18,000, source, joint savings. February last year, $25,000, source. May last year, $22,000, source. August last year, $19,000, source. November last year, $15,847.23, source. The question marks. Those last 4 payments, $81,847.23 total, had no listed source. I opened a new tab, typed in the URL for our family bank Wells Fargo, logged into my account, the student checking account I'd had since high school, barely used anymore, but it was linked to my parents' joint account for emergency transfers. I clicked over to linked accounts. There. Richard and Susan Chen. Joint savings. I clicked. You do not have permission to view this account's transaction history. Shit. But I could see the balance. Current balance, $4,127.89. $4,000. In the account that used to hold my college fund. When I was 12, Dad sat me down at the kitchen table with a savings account statement. "Look at this, Jordan," he'd said, pointing to the balance. "This is your college fund. Started it the day you were born. We add to it every year. By the time you're 18, this'll cover wherever you want to go." The balance then, $48,000. I remember being awed. That felt like infinite money. "Mom and I are doing the same for Vanessa," he'd continued. "You'll both have enough for college. That's a promise." I'd believed him. I pulled up my old bank statements. The ones from high school, their junior year. A document labeled Education, Fund, Transfer, Authorization. I opened it. A form. My signature at the bottom, or I thought it was my signature. 17-year-old me. Rushing through paperwork. Trusting my parents. The form authorized the transfer of funds from Jordan Chen education account to Richard and Susan Chen joint savings for consolidated college fund management. I'd signed it. I'd actually signed it. But I didn't remember the money ever being transferred back. I searched my email. Keyword. College fund. 73 results. I clicked on the oldest one. From Dad. 8 years ago. Subject. College fund update. Jordan. Good news, your education account just hit $50K. We're on track to have $85.90K by the time you graduate high school. Keep up the good work. Love, Dad. $50,000. 8 years ago. I clicked through more emails, watching the balance grow. $55K. $62K. $71K. $80K. The last email, 6 years ago. Subject: College fund, final total. Jordan and Vanessa. Just wanted to update you both. Jordan, your fund is at $89,000. Vanessa, yours is at $76,000. These will be available when you start college. We're proud of you both. Dad. $89,000. Mine. Saved over 18 years. Gone. I clicked back to the wedding budget spreadsheet. Those 4 mystery payments. The ones marked? $25,000, $22,000, $19,000, $15,847.23. Total: $81,847.23. Almost exactly the amount missing from my college fund. Not exact, but close enough. I opened a new tab, pulled up my own college financial records. MIT had awarded me a full scholarship, $67,000 per year, all 4 years. But there were still expenses. Books, food, travel, a laptop, lab fees. I'd paid for all of it myself. 2 part-time jobs, summer internships, scraping together every dollar. I'd assumed the college fund was still there, sitting, waiting for grad school, or a down payment on an apartment, or something. But it wasn't. It was gone. And I knew exactly where it went. I pulled up my phone, called the Wells Fargo customer service line. Wells Fargo, this is Danielle. How can I help you? Hi, I need to check on an old account. An education savings account under my name. Jordan Chen. Typing sounds. Okay, I see an account here. Closed in August, 2 years ago. Is that the one? Closed? Yes, ma'am. Funds were transferred to a joint account ending in 7,743. Would you like those details? My parents' joint account. When was it closed? August 14th, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Right after I started junior year. Right before Vanessa got engaged. And how much was transferred? $89,240.17. $89,240. My entire college fund. Gone. Ma'am, are you still there? I hung up. I sat there, staring at my laptop screen, at the wedding budget spreadsheet with its $156,847.23 total. My parents had taken my college fund, $89,000. Saved over 18 years. And they'd spent it on Vanessa's wedding. The venue, the dress, the flowers, the cake, the 10-day honeymoon in Italy. All of it. Funded by money that was supposed to be mine. And then they'd given me $25 for graduating MIT. I opened my desk drawer. Pulled out the card. The stupid, crumpled Hallmark card with the gift card still attached. Here's a little something for lunch. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. With money stolen from me. I thought about the voicemail, Dad's voice. You got yourself through college with that scholarship. You didn't need us there. I hadn't needed them because they'd made sure I wouldn't. They'd taken the money that was supposed to support me and given it to Vanessa instead. And then they'd acted like I should be grateful for the scholarship, like I'd gotten lucky, like they hadn't sabotaged me from the start. Priya walked in. Took one look at my face. What happened? I turned my laptop toward her, showed her the spreadsheet. She read it, slowly, eyes widening. Jordan, is this? My college fund, I said. My voice was hollow, distant. They took my college fund and spent it on her wedding. How much? $89,000. Priya's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God. I just called the bank. The account was closed 2 years ago. Everything transferred to their joint account. I pulled up the payment records. And look at these. The dates match. The amounts match. She scrolled through, line by line. This is... She looked at me. Jordan? This is theft. It was technically in their name. You were a minor when they set it up. That money was for you. And they spent it on fucking flowers for Vanessa's wedding? I didn't say anything. Priya grabbed my shoulders. You need to talk to a lawyer. I don't... Jordan. This isn't just shitty parenting. This is financial abuse. Maybe fraud. I don't know the legal terms. But I know this is wrong. She was right. I knew she was right. But the idea of taking legal action against my own parents felt impossible. Unthinkable. I don't even know where to start, I whispered. Priya pulled out her phone, started typing. What are you doing? Finding you a lawyer. For 18 months, they'd been stealing from me. That's what I kept coming back to. The timeline. I printed everything. The wedding budget, the payment records, my old college fund statements, emails from Dad about the account balance. I laid it all out on my dorm room floor. Chronological order. A timeline of lies. 18 months ago, Vanessa got engaged. The venue deposit was paid, $38,000. First withdrawal from my college fund, $15,000. I remembered that week. I'd called home to tell them about my internship with the robotics lab. Paid position, $18 an hour. Dad had said, "That's great, honey. You're really taking care of yourself." Taking care of yourself. Because they'd just stolen the first chunk of money that was supposed to take care of me. 16 months ago, second withdrawal, $20,000. Catering deposit. That month, I'd come home for winter break, 3 days. I'd spent most of it in my childhood bedroom, studying for finals. Vanessa had been there too. Wedding planning with Mom at the kitchen table. Fabric swatches everywhere. Invitation samples. I'd walked through once to get water. Mom had looked up. "Oh, Jordan. Sweetie, can you give us some space? This is important." I'd gone back upstairs. 14 months ago. Third withdrawal. $12,000 from Dad's 401k, photographer and videographer deposits. I'd sent them my spring semester Dean's List certificate. 3.96 gigapascals. Mom replied. "That's wonderful." One line. No follow-up. Vanessa posted an engagement photo that same day. Mom commented 17 times. 12 months ago. Fourth withdrawal. $18,000. Flowers, DJ, transportation. I'd worked 50 hours a week that summer. Internship plus a weekend tutoring gig. Saved $4,000 for textbooks and lab fees. Dad called once. Asked how work was going. I'd told him about the project I was leading, autonomous navigation systems for drones. Cutting-edge research. He'd said, "Sounds complicated," and changed the subject to Vanessa's bridesmaids. 10 months ago. Fifth withdrawal. $25,000. Dress, alterations, bridesmaids' dresses. That was right before fall semester senior year. I'd been preparing grad school applications. Reach schools, MIT's PhD program, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon. I'd asked Dad if he thought I should apply. He'd said, "Do you really need more school? You've already got a degree." Meanwhile, they'd just spent $8,400 on Vanessa's wedding dress. 7 months ago. Sixth withdrawal. $22,000. Cake, invitations, party favors. Christmas break. I'd come home for 5 days. Vanessa's wedding was all anyone talked about. Guest lists, seating charts, menu tastings. I'd mentioned my thesis project optimization algorithms for neural networks. Mom had smiled. "That's nice, honey. Vanessa, what did you decide about the centerpieces?" 4 months ago. Seventh withdrawal. $19,000. Final venue payment. Honeymoon deposit. February. I'd been drowning in senior year coursework, thesis revisions, job applications. I'd called home, stressed, overwhelmed. Dad had said, "You've got this. You always figure it out. You always figure it out," because they'd made sure I'd have to. 2 months ago, eighth withdrawal, $15,847.23. Final honeymoon payment, Italy, 10 days, 4-star hotels. March. 3 months before my graduation, I'd sent them my ceremony details: date, time, location, guest ticket information. Mom had replied, "We'll try to make it." Try. Not "we'll be there," not "we wouldn't miss it." Try. Because they were already planning to miss it, for the final dress fitting, the one that cost $8,400 and required both of them to be there, on May 15th, the same day I walked across the stage at MIT. I sat on my floor, surrounded by papers. 18 months of theft. 18 months of choosing Vanessa over me. $89,000 gone. Spent on a party. And when it was my turn, my graduation, my achievement, my moment, they'd given me $25 and a card. Priya came back an hour later with her laptop. "Okay," she said, sitting down next to me. "I found someone. Attorney Sarah Morrison, family law specialist. She handles financial abuse cases. Her office is in Cambridge. I already emailed her your situation, obviously not using your name yet. She said she'd be willing to meet for a free consultation." I looked at the papers on the floor, the timeline, the evidence. "What if I'm wrong?" I whispered. "What if this is legal? What if they're allowed to do this?" Then we find out. But Jordan. Priya picked up one of the bank statements. "Look at this. Look at the dates. They emptied your account while you were in college. While you were working 2 jobs to pay for textbooks. While you were taking out student loans for living expenses. They knew you needed help, and they took your money anyway." She was right. I knew she was right. "Call her," Priya said, handing me my phone. I took the phone, opened my contacts, found attorney Sarah Morrison's number, and pressed call. The call with attorney Morrison's office lasted 4 minutes. The receptionist was professional. Calm. She asked basic questions. My name, the nature of the case, my availability, financial misappropriation by family members, I'd said. The words felt too clinical, too small for what had been done to me. She'd scheduled me for Thursday, 3 days away. "Bring all documentation," she'd instructed. "Bank statements, emails, any written communication about the funds. The more evidence, the better." I'd hung up and stared at the papers on my floor. Evidence. I had plenty of that. Priya ordered Thai food. Showed up with 2 bags of takeout and a determined expression. "You need to eat," she said, unpacking containers. "And then you need to tell me everything. From the beginning." "I already told you." "No, you told me about the college fund." "But there's more, isn't there?" Years of more. She was right. We sat on my dorm room floor, her cross-legged, me with my knees pulled to my chest, and I told her. Everything. "I was 10 when I won the science fair," I started. "First place. Regional competition. Beat out 40 kids, including middle schoolers." "That's incredible," Priya said. "My parents took me to Denny's, got me a sundae, took 1 photo." Priya's face fell. "That same year, Vanessa's 10th birthday party cost $1,200. Princess theme. Bounce house, face painter, 30 kids. The cake alone was 3 tiers." "Jordan. When I was 14, I made honor roll for the 3rd straight year. Dad said good job and went back to his crossword. That same month, they bought Vanessa a car. Used Honda Accord. Leather seats, sunroof. She was 16. I didn't even have my permit yet." I kept going. Priya listened, fork frozen halfway to her mouth. "When I got my SAT scores 1,529th percentile. Mom said, 'That's nice, honey,' and asked if I'd seen Vanessa's new boyfriend. The boyfriend lasted 3 weeks. My SAT score got me into MIT. Did they ever—" Priya hesitated. "Did they ever acknowledge how incredible you are? I thought about it. Really? Thought. No, I said finally. Not once. Priya set down her food, pulled out her phone. What are you doing? I asked. Making a list. Everything you just told me. We're documenting all of it. Why? Because this isn't just about the money, Jordan. It's a pattern. Years of favoritism, neglect, financial abuse. Your lawyer needs to know all of it. She started typing. Age 10. Science fair first place versus sister's $1,200 birthday party. Age 14. Honor roll ignored versus sister given $15,000 car. Age 16. 1,520 SAT. Dismissed versus sister's 3-week boyfriend prioritized. She looked up at me. What else? I told her about MIT move-in day. How I'd carried boxes up 3 flights of stairs alone while her parents cooked us dinner and helped me build furniture. About making Dean's List sophomore year. How Mom had put me on hold for Vanessa's call and never called back. About the robotics internship. Dad's 2-sentence email. Good for you. About the $400 I'd sent home for furnace repairs, while Vanessa posted her new Kate Spade purse the next day. Priya documented everything, time-stamped where possible. Cross-referenced with social media posts, text messages, emails. This is... She scrolled through her notes. Jordan, this is 18 years of evidence. Evidence of what? That they never valued you. That Vanessa was always the priority. That when they stole your college fund, it wasn't a one-time decision, it was the culmination of a lifetime of choosing her over you. I'd never thought about it like that. A lifetime. Every ignored achievement, every dismissed milestone, every moment I'd told myself maybe next time or they're just busy or I'm being too sensitive. It was all part of the same pattern, and it had been leading here all along. I need to ask you something, Priya said carefully. And I need you to be honest. Okay. Do you want to do this? Actually do this? Because once you walk into that lawyer's office, once you start building a case, there's no going back. Your family will know, and they'll fight you. I looked at the papers on my floor, the wedding budget, the bank statements, the timeline of 18 months of theft. I thought about the card. The $25 gift card sitting on my desk. Here's a little something for lunch. Treat yourself. I thought about the empty chairs. Row C, seats 7 and 8. I thought about the voicemail. Vanessa's voice. You're ruining my day because you're jealous. And I thought about the rest of my life. How many more times would they choose her? How many more achievements would they ignore? How many more times would I have to pretend it didn't matter? Yes, I said. I want to do this. Priya squeezed my hand. Then we're doing this. Together. We spent the next 2 hours organizing evidence. Priya created a shared Google Drive folder, labeled it Jordan Chen, Family Financial Case. Inside, subfolders for bank statements, emails, social media screenshots, timeline documentation, witness contacts. Who are your witnesses? She asked. For what? For the pattern. People who've seen the favoritism. Family members, friends, teachers, anyone who can corroborate that this has been going on for years. I made a mental list. Aunt Rachel, I said slowly. Mom's sister. She's always been uncomfortable with how they treat me. She never said anything directly, but I could tell. Who else? My high school guidance counselor, Mrs. Patterson. She helped me apply to colleges. She knew my parents weren't involved. She even waived some of the application fees when she realized I was paying for everything myself. Priya added their names to the list. What about friends? People who've been to your house, seen the dynamic? I thought about high school. About the friends who'd slowly stopped inviting me places because my parents never drove me, never hosted sleepovers, never participated in anything. Devin, I said. He was my lab partner junior and senior year. Came over a few times to work on projects. He saw Vanessa's car, her room, the way my parents talked about her versus me. Good. Anyone else? Professor Chen at MIT. No relation, different Chen. She was my academic advisor. I told her once why I couldn't go home for Thanksgiving, couldn't afford the flight, and my parents weren't offering to pay. She looked sad, like she understood more than I was saying. Priya typed everything. Names, relationships, what they'd witnessed. By the time we finished, we had 12 potential witnesses. 12 people who'd seen the truth, even if they'd never said it out loud. Your lawyer is going to love this, Priya said. You're not just showing up with documents, you're showing up with an entire case. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Thursday. About walking into Attorney Morrison's office and saying the words out loud. My parents stole from me. About what came after. The lawsuit, the confrontation, the inevitable family explosion. Part of me wanted to back out, to delete the appointment, to take the $25 and move on with my life and pretend none of this mattered. But the bigger part, the part that had spent 4 years at MIT, that had earned summa cum laude, that had walked across that stage alone, knew I couldn't. This wasn't just about money. It was about being seen, being valued, being worth more than $25 and an empty chair. I fell asleep at 3 a.m., phone alarm set for 8. Thursday couldn't come fast enough. The law office was in Cambridge, a 10-minute walk from campus. Morrison and Associates occupied the 3rd floor of a brick building with large windows and polished wood floors. Professional. Established. The kind of place that handled serious cases. I'd dressed carefully that morning. Button-down shirt, slacks, the blazer I'd worn to job interviews. I wanted to look credible, put together, like someone worth fighting for. Priya came with me. We didn't talk much on the walkover. She just held my hand and squeezed it when we reached the building. You've got this, she said. I've got this, I repeated. I didn't believe it yet. The receptionist was the same woman I'd spoken to on the phone. Mid-40s, kind eyes, voice like warm honey. Jordan Chen? She asked. Yes. Attorney Morrison is ready for you. 3rd door on the left. I walked down the hallway, briefcase in hand, Priya's father's old leather briefcase, stuffed with 18 months of evidence. I knocked. Come in. Attorney Sarah Morrison was younger than I expected. Early 40s, maybe. Sharp gray suit, dark hair pulled back, glasses perched on her nose. She stood when I entered, extended her hand. Jordan, thank you for coming in. I'm Sarah Morrison. Her handshake was firm, confident. Have a seat, she said, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. Can I get you anything? Water, coffee? I'm fine, thank you. Priya sat in the chair beside me. Attorney Morrison glanced at her. This is Priya Kumar, I explained. My roommate. She's been helping me organize everything. Is it okay if she stays? Absolutely. Support systems are important in these cases. Morrison opened a legal pad, clicked her pen. So, tell me what's going on. I took a breath. And I told her. I started with graduation day, the empty chairs, the $25 card. Then I went back. The college fund, $89,000, saved over 18 years. The wedding budget, $156,847.23. The payment records, the timeline, the phone call to Wells Fargo, the account closure, the transfer to my parents' joint account. Morrison took notes. She didn't interrupt, didn't react, just listened and wrote. When I finished, she set down her pen. Okay, she said, let's talk about what we're looking at here. She pulled out a legal textbook, opened it to a marked page. In Massachusetts, this falls under several potential causes of action. First, conversion of assets. You were a beneficiary of an education fund held in trust for your benefit. If your parents used those funds for purposes other than your education without your informed consent, that's conversion. I signed a form, I said quietly. When I was 17, authorizing them to consolidate the accounts. Did you understand what you were signing? I thought. I thought it was just moving money between accounts. For easier management. I didn't know they were going to spend it. That's important. Informed consent requires full disclosure. If they misrepresented the purpose of the consolidation, that consent may be invalid. She made a note. Second, she continued, breach of fiduciary duty. Your parents, as the account holders, had a legal obligation to manage those funds in your best interest. Using them for your sister's wedding is a clear violation of that duty. Can we prove that? Priya asked. Morrison looked at me. Do you have documentation? Bank records? The wedding budget? Anything that shows where the money went? I opened the briefcase, pulled out the folders. Bank statements, payment records, the wedding budget spreadsheet, emails from Dad about the account balance, the authorization form I'd signed. Morrison's eyes widened slightly. This is... She flipped through the pages. Priya helped me organize it. I can see that. Morrison spread the documents across her desk, studied them. Okay, this is strong, very strong. The paper trail is clear funds from your education account were transferred to their joint account, and those transfers align almost perfectly with wedding expenses. So, we have a case? I asked. You have an excellent case. The question is, what do you want the outcome to be? I hesitated. What do you mean? There are two paths here. Civil lawsuit, you sue for the return of the funds plus damages. That's a court process. Takes time. But if we win, you'll be made whole financially. Or, and this is less common, criminal charges. If we can prove intent to defraud, this could be prosecuted as theft or embezzlement. Criminal charges. My parents. Arrested. I swallowed. I don't want them in jail. I just want my money back. That's completely valid. Civil lawsuit, then. We'll file in Suffolk County Court. You're seeking restitution of $89,240.17. The full amount taken plus damages for emotional distress and financial harm. Lost opportunity costs, interest, legal fees. She did quick math on a calculator. Conservatively, we'd be asking for $89,000 in restitution, $40,000 to $50,000 in damages, and recovery of legal fees. Total, around $145,000. $145,000. From my parents. What's the timeline? Priya asked. If they contest it, 12 to 18 months. If they settle, could be as little as 6 to 8 months. Given the strength of the evidence, I'd guess they'll try to settle. Most people don't want this kind of case going to trial. Too much publicity, too much family fallout. Too late for that, I thought. The fallout had already started. What are our chances? I asked. Morrison looked me in the eye. Based on what you've shown me? 90%. Maybe 95. The documentation is airtight. The timeline is clear. And you have a compelling narrative, a student who worked 2 jobs, took out loans, struggled financially, all while her parents were spending her education fund on her sister's wedding. No judge is going to look kindly on that. 95%. I could win this. What do I do next? I asked. You hire me, Morrison said simply. My retainer is $15,000. I know that's steep, but I also offer a contingency option. I take a percentage of the settlement or judgment instead of upfront payment. Given your financial situation, I'd recommend contingency. What percentage? 33% of the total recovery. I did the math. If we won $145,000, she'd take about $48,000. That still left me with $97,000. More than I'd started with. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Morrison smiled. Then we have a case. She pulled out a contract, explained the terms. I signed. And just like that, I was suing my parents. The next 3 weeks were a blur of preparation. Attorney Morrison gave me homework. Document everything. Every interaction with my parents. Every memory of favoritism. Every piece of evidence that supported the pattern. I threw myself into it. Priya and I created timelines, visual ones, printed on poster board. Timeline 1, financial favoritism. Age 10, science fair, $5 Sunday. Versus sister's birthday $1,200 party. Age 14, honor roll, verbal praise versus sister's car, $15,000. Age 18, MIT acceptance, $0 support, versus sister's engagement, $156,847 wedding. Timeline 2, college fund theft. 18 months ago, account closure, $89,240.17 transferred. 18 months ago to 2 months ago. 8 withdrawals matching wedding expenses. Present day, $4,127.89 remaining in parents' savings. Timeline 3, graduation day. May 15th, 6:47 a.m. Card delivered, $25 gift. May 15th, 10 a.m. Ceremony, empty chairs. May 15th, same day. Sister's final dress fitting, $8,400 dress. The timelines were damning. I reached out to witnesses. Aunt Rachel responded within an hour. Jordan, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I'll absolutely testify if you need me. I've watched your parents favor Vanessa for years. It's been heartbreaking. Call me anytime. Mrs. Patterson, my high school guidance counselor, was equally supportive. I remember helping you apply to colleges. Your parents never attended a single meeting. I waived fees because I could tell you were carrying the financial burden alone. I'm happy to provide a statement. Devin, my high school friend, sent a long text. Dude, I always knew your parents were weird about Vanessa, but I didn't realize how bad it was. I'll back you up 100%. Remember when I came over junior year and your mom spent an hour showing me Vanessa's prom photos but didn't even ask about your robotics competition? I remember. One by one, people came forward. 12 witnesses, 12 people ready to say, yes, I saw it, yes, it was wrong. Professor Chen at MIT was more cautious. Jordan, I believe you and I support you. But as a faculty member, I need to be careful about getting involved in legal matters with students. I can provide a character reference, but I can't testify about your family directly. I hope you understand. I did. And a character reference was still something. Attorney Morrison compiled everything into a legal brief. 47 pages. Citations, precedents, evidence. Plaintiff. Jordan Elizabeth Chen. Defendants. Richard Chen, Susan Chen. Cause of action. Conversion of assets. Breach of fiduciary duty. Emotional distress. Relief sought. $89,240.17. Restitution, plus $45,000 damage, plus legal fees. She filed it with Suffolk County Court on a Wednesday morning. Case number 2024C V1847. Chen v. Chen. Daughter versus parents. My parents were served with the lawsuit on a Friday afternoon. I knew because Vanessa called me 37 times in 2 hours. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. 11 of them. I listened to the first one. Jordan, what the fuck did you do? Mom is crying. Dad is furious. You sued them? Your own parents over money? Are you insane? This is going to ruin everything. My wedding is in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And now everyone's going to be talking about this instead of celebrating me. I swear to God, if you don't drop this lawsuit right now, I deleted the rest without listening. Mom called, Dad called. I blocked their numbers. They tried emailing. Subject: how could you do this? Jordan, we are devastated. Absolutely devastated. We raised you, supported you, loved you, and this is how you repay us? By suing us? Over money that we needed for your sister's wedding? You got a full scholarship. You didn't need that money. Vanessa needed our help. Family helps family. If you go through with this, you are no longer our daughter. Mom and Dad. I forwarded it to Attorney Morrison. She replied, "Perfect. Save everything they send. This helps our case." The lawsuit made the news. Local Boston outlet picked it up first. MIT grad sues parents for $89K college fund allegedly spent on sister's wedding. Then it went national. CNN, NBC, The New York Times. Viral graduation photo girl files lawsuit against parents. My inbox exploded. Again. Interview requests. Book deal offers. A producer from a true crime podcast. I ignored all of it. This wasn't about publicity. It was about justice. 3 weeks after filing, we got a response from my parents' attorney. Defendant's answer and counterclaim. They were fighting it, their defense. The education fund was held in their names. They had legal authority to use it as they saw fit. I'd signed the consolidation form willingly. And I'd benefited from the scholarship, so I hadn't been harmed. Their counterclaim: defamation. They argued that my lawsuit and the viral photo had damaged their reputations and caused them emotional distress. They were countersuing me for $50,000. I sat in Attorney Morrison's office, reading their filing. "They're suing me," I said, voice flat. "For emotional distress. It's a scare tactic," Morrison said calmly. "They want you to drop the case. It won't work." "How do you know?" "Because their counterclaim is nonsense. Truth is an absolute defense to defamation. Everything you've said is documented and provable. And emotional distress? Please. They're the ones who caused harm, not you." She leaned forward. "Jordan, this is going to get ugly. They're going to fight. They're going to try to paint you as entitled, ungrateful, vindictive. But we have the evidence. We have the witnesses. And we have the truth. What do we do next? Discovery. We subpoena their bank records, credit card statements, wedding vendor contracts. We depose them under oath. We build an ironclad case so that when we get to court or when they finally agree to settle, they have no choice but to pay you back. And if they don't settle?" Morrison smiled. "Then we go to trial." I walked out of her office that day with a strange feeling in my chest. Not fear, not anger, determination. For 18 years, I'd been invisible. For 18 months, they'd stolen from me. For 18 days since graduation, they'd tried to make me feel guilty for standing up for myself. But I wasn't backing down. Not anymore. They'd given me $25 and expected me to disappear. Instead, I was taking them to court. And I was going to win. Vanessa's bridal shower invitation arrived on a Tuesday. Cream cardstock, gold foil lettering, my name printed in elegant script. "You are cordially invited to celebrate Vanessa Chen's bridal shower. June 28, 2 p.m. Oakmont Country Club." I stared at it for a full minute. They'd invited me. After everything, the lawsuit, the blocked numbers, the cease and contact letter from their attorney, they'd still invited me to the bridal shower. Priya looked over my shoulder. "Are you kidding me?" "Apparently not. You're not going." I set the invitation down on my desk, smoothed the edges. "Actually," I said slowly, "I think I am." Attorney Morrison's office. Wednesday morning. I slid the invitation across her desk. "I want to go," I said. Morrison picked it up. "Read it. Set it down." "Why?" "Because there will be witnesses. Family, friends, people who've been telling me for years to be the bigger person and not make waves. I want them to see. I want them to hear the truth." "Jordan, this is a terrible idea." "Maybe. But it's my idea." Morrison leaned back in her chair. "Studied me. If you do this, you need to be strategic. No yelling, no emotional outbursts. You present facts, calmly, and you let the evidence speak for itself." "I can do that." "Can you?" She raised an eyebrow. "Because this is your sister's bridal shower. Your parents will be there. Vanessa will be there. Everyone who's ever dismissed or invalidated you will be there. And you're planning to stand up in front of all of them and what? Give a speech? Yes. About the lawsuit. About everything. Morrison was quiet for a long moment. Okay, she said finally. If you're doing this, we're doing it right. You bring copies of the evidence, printed, organized, irrefutable. You speak clearly, factually, without emotion, and you have an exit strategy, someone who can get you out if things go sideways. Priya, good. She films everything, every word, every reaction. It's documentation. I nodded. Morrison pulled out a legal pad, started writing. Here's what you say. For the next week, we planned. Morrison helped me write the speech. 5 minutes. Factual, direct, devastating. We practiced it. Over and over. In her office, in my dorm room, in the campus library. Priya timed me. 4 minutes, 52 seconds. Perfect. I printed the evidence. 15 copies. Wedding budget, bank statements, payment timeline, email correspondence. Everything bound in clear folders with labeled tabs. Attorney Morrison reviewed them. These are exhibits in a trial. Treat them that way. I bought a new outfit. Slate gray pantsuit, white blouse. Professional, unshakable. You look like a lawyer, Priya said. Good. 3 days before the shower, I received an email from my parents' attorney. Subject: settlement offer. Miss Chen, my clients are prepared to offer a settlement of $30,000 to resolve this matter quickly and avoid further family conflict. This is a generous offer given the circumstances. Please advise. $30,000. 1/3 of what they'd stolen. I forwarded it to Morrison. She called me 2 minutes later. Do not accept this. I wasn't planning to. They're panicking. The discovery phase starts next week. They know we're going to subpoena everything: their bank records, credit cards, vendor contracts. They're trying to shut this down before we expose the full extent of their spending. What do I do? Nothing. We proceed as planned. And if you're still committed to this bridal shower confrontation, you do it knowing they're scared. Use that. I replied to their attorney. Please inform your clients that $30,000 is unacceptable. I will see them at the bridal shower. June 28th arrived too fast and too slow. I woke at 6 a.m. Couldn't sleep. My stomach was a knot of anxiety and determination. Priya was already awake, sitting at her desk with her laptop. I've been going through the plan, she said. We arrive at 2:15, 15 minutes after start time. Everyone's settled. You wait until the toasts begin. That's when you ask for the microphone. I'll be filming from the back. When you're done, we leave immediately. No lingering, no confrontation beyond the speech. What if they try to stop me? They won't. Not with that many witnesses. They'll be too shocked. I hoped she was right. I spent the morning rehearsing. The speech was burned into my memory. Every word, every pause, every inflection. I want to talk about what family means. 3 days ago, I graduated from MIT. They weren't there. $89,000 taken over 14 months. I practiced in front of the mirror. Watched my face. Kept it neutral, calm. Facts, not emotions. Evidence, not accusations. Morrison's words echoed. Let the truth do the work. Priya helped me get ready. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. The gray suit, perfectly tailored. She tucked the evidence folders into a leather portfolio case. You look like you're about to argue before the Supreme Court, she said. I feel like I might throw up. That's normal. But Jordan? She gripped my shoulders. You've got this. You've earned this moment. At 1:45 p.m., we drove to Oakmont Country Club. The venue was stunning. Manicured lawns, white columns, flower arrangements that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Priya parked in the back lot. We sat for a moment. Last chance to back out, she said softly. I looked at the building, imagined my family inside, laughing, celebrating, completely unaware of what was about to happen. I'm not backing out. Then let's go. We walked in at 2:14 p.m. The grand ballroom was decorated in sage green and gold Vanessa's wedding colors. Round tables with centerpieces. A gift table overflowing with wrapped boxes. A champagne fountain. 87 people. I counted. Mom saw me first. Her face went white. Dad was next. His jaw tightened. Vanessa was at the center of it all. White bridal shower dress, tiara, surrounded by friends. She didn't see me yet. I found a spot near the back. Priya positioned herself against the wall, phone ready. The shower proceeded normally. For a while, games, laughter. Vanessa opening gifts, kitchen gadgets, lingerie, picture frames. Mom gave a toast. To my beautiful daughter, who deserves all the happiness in the world. The room applauded. Dad went next. Vanessa, you've made us so proud. We've given you everything we can to make your day perfect. Everything they can. With my money. The best man, Blake's brother, called for more toasts. Anyone else want to say a few words? This was it. I stood. 87 heads turned. I'd like to say something, I said. The room fell silent. Vanessa's face went from confusion to horror in 2 seconds flat. Jordan, Mom hissed, sit down. I'll only take a few minutes. The best man, oblivious, handed me the microphone. I took it. 87 people stared at me. Priya's phone camera was recording. I took a breath. And I began. I want to talk about what family means. My voice echoes through the ballroom. Clear. 87 people frozen in place. 3 days ago, I graduated from MIT, Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, summa cum laude. Top 5% of my class. I pause. Let that sink in. My parents weren't there. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Mom stands. Jordan, this is not the time. They couldn't make it. I continue, louder now. Because they were at Vanessa's final dress fitting. For this wedding. So instead of attending my graduation, they sent me a card. With $25. I pull the card from my portfolio, hold it up. The crumpled Hallmark card. The gift card still attached. Gasps. Vanessa's face is scarlet. You need to leave. I will, after I finish. I set the card down, pull out the first evidence folder. But the $25 isn't actually the problem. The problem is the $89,240.17 they stole from me to pay for this wedding. The room explodes. Voices overlapping. Shock. Dad's voice cuts through. That is a lie. It's not. I open the folder. Project the first document on my phone, connected to the venue's screen Priya's set up from earlier. The wedding budget spreadsheet appears. Massive, detailed. Total, $156,847.23. This is Vanessa's wedding budget. I say. Venue, $38,000. Catering, $42,000. Dress, $8,400. Honeymoon in Italy, $28,047. I advance the slide. And this is my college fund. Opened when I was born. Balance 18 months ago. $89,240.17. Bank statement on screen. Account number visible. My name. Closed 14 months ago. Every penny transferred to my parents' joint account. Next slide. Payment timeline. Dates. Amounts. Sources. The room is silent now. Deadly silent. These transactions, I point, match the wedding expenses, almost exactly. March, 18 months ago, $15,000 to venue. June, $20,000 to catering. September, $12,000 to photographer. December, $18,000 to flowers. On and on. $89,000, saved over 18 years. For my education. Spent on my sister's wedding. Aunt Rachel is the first to speak. Susan, she breathes, tell me this isn't true. Mom's face is white, shaking. Jordan signed the paperwork. She authorized. I was 17. My voice cracks. First sign of emotion. I thought I was consolidating accounts. You told me it was for easier management. You didn't tell me you were going to spend it. Dad stands. You had a full scholarship. You didn't need that money. So you stole it? We didn't steal anything. We reallocated family resources. My resources, my money, my college fund. I pull out more documents. Start distributing the folders. Walking between tables. Setting them down. Evidence in front of 87 witnesses. Page 3, I say. The Wells Fargo account closure form. See the date? August 14th, 2 years ago. Right after I started junior year at MIT. Page 7. The wedding vendor payments. Every single withdrawal from their joint account corresponds to a deposit date on the wedding contracts. Page 12. My student loan statements. $67,000 in loans I took out for living expenses, while they spent my college fund on cake and flowers. Hands are flipping through pages, eyes widening. Uncle Tom looks at Dad. Richard, what the hell did you do? Vanessa is crying now, mascara running. I didn't know. Didn't you? I turned to her. You knew I was working 2 jobs in college. You knew I was taking out loans. You knew I came home for winter break and stayed 3 days because I couldn't afford to stay longer. And you never once asked why Mom and Dad weren't helping me. That's not fair. You posted your dress on Instagram. $8,400. I wore a $40 dress to my graduation. From Target. The room is a pressure cooker, about to explode. Grandmother Mom's mother stands. She's 82, tiny, fierce. She walks directly to Mom and slaps her across the face. The crack echoes like a gunshot. How dare you, Grandmother says, voice shaking with rage. How dare you steal from your own daughter? Mom is crying. Mama, please. No, no excuses. That money was Jordan's. You had no right. Grandmother turns to me. Eyes wet. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I didn't know. If I had known, it's not your fault. I'll testify. Whatever you need, I'll testify. The room descends into chaos. Arguments erupting at every table. Family members shouting at my parents. Vanessa sobbing into Blake's shoulder. Blake, for his part, looks shell-shocked. You spent that much on this wedding? He says. Vanessa, we talked about keeping it under $50,000. My parents offered, with her money. Dad tries to take control. Everyone, please. This is a misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding, I say. It's theft, and I've filed a lawsuit. Case number 2024CV1847. Suffolk County Court. You've been served. You're suing us? Mom's voice is a shriek. Your own parents? You stole from me. Your own daughter. We gave you everything. You gave me nothing. My voice rings out, louder than I've ever spoken in my life. You gave me nothing. You gave Vanessa everything. Her whole life. Her birthday parties. Her car. Her college expenses. Her wedding. And when it was my turn, when I achieved something actually meaningful, you gave me $25 and a card. I'm shaking now. Months of pain flooding out. I worked 2 jobs at MIT. I graduated summa cum laude. I did everything right, and you still chose her. Because she needed us. Mom is screaming now. You never needed us. You always figured it out on your own. Because you made me. The room falls silent again. I'm crying. Can't stop it. You made me raise myself. I say quieter now. Because Vanessa got all the attention. All the money. All the love. So yes, I figured it out. Because I had to. I wipe my eyes, pull myself together. I'm filing for $89,240 in restitution, plus $45,000 in damages, plus legal fees. Your attorney offered me $30,000 to settle. I declined. Dad's face goes purple. You ungrateful. I'm not ungrateful. I'm done. I gather my portfolio. Look around the room. 87 faces. Some sympathetic, some horrified, some still processing. Enjoy the wedding, I say. I won't be attending. I turn to leave. Vanessa's voice stops me. Jordan. I look back. She's standing now, tiara askew, makeup ruined. I'm sorry, she whispers. It's the first time she's ever apologized for anything. I know, I say, and I walk out. Priya is right behind me, camera still recording. We reach the parking lot. I can barely breathe. You did it, Priya says. You actually did it. I did it. Behind us, the country club is chaos. Voices shouting, doors slamming. Someone's cousin runs out, pulls out their phone. They're posting the video. Within an hour, it'll be everywhere. By the time we reach the car, my phone is buzzing. Notifications, hundreds of them. Text from Aunt Rachel. I'm so proud of you. I'll testify. Whatever you need. Text from Uncle Tom. Your father is a coward. I'm done with him. Text from grandmother. Come stay with me. You don't have to do this alone. And then, a notification from Attorney Morrison. Just saw a video. Well done. Call me tomorrow. They'll settle now. I close my eyes. Lean back in the passenger seat. Priya drives us away from Oakmont Country Club. Away from Vanessa's bridal shower. Away from my family. For the first time in 18 years, I feel free. The video went viral in 43 minutes. Someone's cousin had filmed the entire confrontation. 5 minutes and 12 seconds of me standing in that ballroom, presenting evidence, calling out my parents while 87 people watched. By midnight, it had 2.1 million views. Priya and I stayed in her apartment that night. I'd turned off my phone after the 100th notification. The buzzing had become unbearable. Journalists, distant relatives, strangers offering support or condemnation. We ordered pizza. Didn't talk much, just sat on her couch, watching mindless TV, letting the adrenaline drain from my system. You were incredible, Priya said around 1 a.m. I was terrified. You didn't look it. I thought about the moment I'd held up that $25 card, the way the room had gasped, the way my grandmother had slapped my mother. My family is never going to forgive me, I said quietly. Priya looked at me. The family that stole from you? Or the family that just offered to testify on your behalf? She had a point. By morning, I had 73 missed calls, 12 voicemails from family members, some supportive, some furious, and one email from Attorney Morrison with the subject line, "They want to settle." Attorney Morrison's email was waiting when I turned my phone back on. Jordan, your parents' attorney contacted me at 11 p.m. last night. They want to settle. Call me as soon as you're awake. Sarah. I called her at 8:07 a.m. They're offering the full amount, Morrison said without preamble. $89,240.17 in restitution, $38,000 in damages, full coverage of legal fees, total $145,891. I sat down. Hard. That's everything we asked for. Plus, they're dropping their counterclaim, and they're agreeing to a non-disparagement clause. They can't publicly trash you, and you won't discuss the settlement terms beyond what's already public. What changed? Morrison laughed. You mean besides the video with 2.1 million views? Jordan, you presented a master class in public accountability. Every piece of evidence, every dollar amount, every witness reaction is documented. They have no defense. If this goes to trial, they lose spectacularly. Settling is their only option. I thought about it. The months of potential litigation, depositions, court appearances, dragging this out for another year. Or ending it now, getting my money back, moving on. Do we accept? I asked. That's your decision. But in my professional opinion, yes, you've won. Take the victory. Okay, I said. Let's settle. The paperwork took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of negotiating terms, signing documents, transferring funds, 3 weeks of my parents' attorney trying to insert clauses that would protect their reputation, which Morrison shot down every single time. "They don't get to save face," she told me during one particularly contentious phone call. "They stole from you. The public knows it. That's the consequence." By mid-July, the money hit my account. $145,891. I stared at the balance on my phone screen. The number felt surreal, like a mistake the universe would correct any minute. But it wasn't a mistake. It was justice. The first thing I did was pay off my student loans. $67,000. Every penny of debt I'd accumulated while my parents spent my college fund on wedding flowers and Italian honeymoons. I clicked Pay in Full on the loan servicer's website. Confirmation screen. Balance. $0. I cried. Right there at my laptop, tears streaming down my face. Zero debt. For the first time since I'd started college, I owed nothing to anyone. The second thing I did was move out of the dorms. I found a one-bedroom apartment in Cambridge, close to MIT, walking distance from Priya's new place. Hardwood floors, big windows, a kitchen that was actually big enough to cook in. I signed the lease. Paid first month, last month, security deposit in full. It was mine. Just mine. I spent a week furnishing it. IKEA desk, Target dishes, a couch from Facebook Marketplace. Nothing fancy. But everything chosen by me, paid for by me. The first night I slept there, I lay in my new bed and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Safe. The family fallout was immediate and brutal. My parents' side fractured down the middle. Some relatives sided with them, called me vindictive, ungrateful, cruel for airing dirty laundry. Others sided with me, Aunt Rachel, Uncle Tom, grandmother, cousins I'd barely spoken to in years reached out to say they'd always suspected something was wrong. "Your parents always played favorites," Aunt Rachel told me over coffee one afternoon. "I tried to say something once, years ago, when you were in middle school. Your mother told me to mind my own business. I wish you'd said something to me." "I know. I'm sorry. I thought if I stayed close, I could at least be there for you. But I should have done more." She'd testified on my behalf. That was enough. Vanessa's wedding was called off. Not immediately. But 3 weeks after the bridal shower, Blake called it off. I heard through grandmother, who'd heard through Aunt Rachel. He couldn't reconcile it, grandmother said. The amount they'd spent, the way they'd gotten the money. He felt like the whole engagement had been built on a lie. "It had been," I said quietly. "Vanessa's devastated. She's back living with your parents. No job, no fiancé, no plan." Part of me felt bad for her. A tiny part. The rest of me remembered, "You're ruining my day because you're jealous." She'd made her choices. Now, she was living with them. Mom tried to reach out twice. The first time was an email, 2 months after the settlement. "Jordan, I hope you're happy. You've destroyed this family. Your sister's life is ruined. Your father and I are pariahs in our community. People we've known for decades won't return our calls. I hope the money was worth it." Mom, I didn't respond. The second attempt was a voicemail, 3 months later. "Jordan, it's Mom. I wanted to hear your voice. I know things are bad between us, but you're still my daughter. Can we talk? Please?" I deleted it. Morrison had warned me. "They'll try to rebuild the relationship once the legal dust settles. It's up to you whether you let them." I wasn't ready. Maybe I never would be. For now, the answer was no. Dad never reached out at all. Grandmother told me he'd been passed over for a promotion at Boeing. The viral video had made its way through his workplace. HR had asked questions. His reputation took a hit. "He blames you," grandmother said. "Of course he does." "He's wrong. He did this to himself." She was right, but it still hurt. Somewhere deep down, I'd wanted my father to apologize, to admit what he'd done was wrong, to choose me. Just once. He never did. By fall, I'd started MIT's PhD program. Electrical engineering, specialization in autonomous systems. Fully funded, $35,000 annual stipend, tuition covered, research assistantship with a professor I'd admired for years. I walked into the lab on my first day, my lab, with my desk and my project and my future, and felt something settle in my chest. This was what I'd worked for. This was why I'd survived. Not for my parents' approval, not for Vanessa's wedding to fail. For this. For me. The media eventually moved on. The viral video became old news. Another story, another family drama, another cautionary tale about favoritism and stolen money. But every few weeks, someone would recognize me. On the subway, in a coffee shop, at the library. "You're the MIT girl, right? The one who sued her parents?" Usually I deflected, smiled politely, changed the subject. But once, a woman stopped me outside a bookstore. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said. "My parents did something similar. Spent my college fund on my brother's rehab. I never said anything. I thought I was supposed to just accept it. But watching your video, it made me realize I didn't have to." "Did you do something about it?" I asked. "I'm talking to a lawyer next week." She walked away before I could respond. I stood there, holding my coffee, realizing. Maybe the viral video hadn't been for nothing. Maybe someone else needed to see that it was okay to fight back. 1 year after graduation, I went back to Killian Court. MIT was hosting a donor event. I'd been invited as an alumna. A scholarship recipient success story. I stood in the same spot where I'd walked across the stage, where those 2 empty chairs had sat in row C. This time, the seats were full. Priya was there. Grandmother. Aunt Rachel. Uncle Tom. Professor Chen. People who'd shown up. People who'd chosen me. The keynote speaker talked about resilience. About overcoming obstacles. About defining family not by blood, but by presence. I thought about the $25 card, the empty chairs, the moment everything had broken, and I thought about what came after, the lawsuit, the confrontation, the settlement, the freedom. It's been 3 years since that bridal shower. 3 years since I stood in front of 87 people and told the truth. 3 years since the video went viral, since the lawsuit settled, since my family imploded. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. If the money was worth losing my parents, the answer is complicated. I didn't lose my parents at the bridal shower. I'd been losing them my entire life. Every dismissed achievement, every ignored milestone, every moment they chose Vanessa over me. The lawsuit just made it official. What I gained was worth more than $145,000. I gained my voice, my self-respect, my refusal to accept being treated as less than, and I gained a new family. Not the one I was born into, but the one I built. Priya finished her PhD last spring. She's working at a tech startup in Boston, leading their AI ethics division. We get dinner every week. She's the sister I should have had. Grandmother turned 85 last month. I threw her a party at my apartment, small, intimate, just the people who mattered. She cried when I gave her a toast. "You're the strongest person I know," she said. I'd learned it from her. Aunt Rachel and I talk every Sunday. She's been a better mother to me in 3 years than Mom was in 22. Uncle Tom helped me buy my first car last year. He co-signed the loan, then handed me a check to cover the down payment. "Your parents should have done this," he said. "Since they didn't, I will. These are my people. My chosen family. The ones who showed up when it mattered." I haven't spoken to my parents in 3 years. No calls, no emails, no surprise visits. They've tried, occasionally. A birthday card slipped under my apartment door. A Facebook message from Mom's account. A text from Dad's new number that just said, "We're sorry." But sorry isn't enough. Not without changed behavior. Not without acknowledgement of the full scope of what they did. They stole from me. They chose Vanessa over me for 18 years. They gave me $25 and expected gratitude. An apology doesn't erase that. Maybe someday, I'll be ready to talk, to hear them out, to consider reconciliation. But not today, not this year, maybe not ever. And I'm okay with that. Vanessa reached out once, about a year after the settlement. A long email, pages of apologies and explanations. She'd broken up with Blake, or he'd broken up with her, depending on who you asked. She was living with our parents, working retail, trying to figure out her life. "I'm sorry," she wrote. "I didn't know about the college fund. I swear I didn't know. And I'm sorry I was so awful to you. You didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve any of it. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. How badly they treated you. How badly I treated you. And I'm sorry." I read it 3 times. Then I saved it in a folder labeled "Maybe Someday" and didn't respond. I believe she's sorry. I believe she didn't know the full extent of what our parents had done. But she'd benefited from it. For 18 years, she'd been the golden child while I was invisible. She'd accepted the car, the clothes, the $156,000 wedding, without questioning where the money came from. Ignorance doesn't erase complicity. Maybe someday I'll respond. Maybe we'll have coffee and talk and try to build something new. But I'm not ready yet. Financially, I'm stable for the first time in my life. After paying off loans and moving expenses, I invested the rest of the settlement. Index funds, retirement accounts, a small emergency fund that actually feels secure. I'm not rich. I'm a PhD student making $35,000 a year. But I'm debt-free. I have savings, and I'm not one emergency away from financial disaster. That's more than most people my age can say. And it's more than I ever thought I'd have. My research is going well. Better than well. I'm working on autonomous navigation systems for disaster relief drones, the kind that can fly into collapsed buildings and locate survivors, the kind that save lives. Last month, my paper was accepted to a major conference. My advisor called it groundbreaking. I thought about Dad's words when I'd told him about my MIT thesis. Sounds complicated. He'd had no idea what I was capable of. He still doesn't. I met someone. His name is Alex. He's a fellow PhD student, computational biology, kind eyes, and a dry sense of humor. We met in the campus library, both pulling all-nighters, bonding over terrible coffee and academic existentialism. He knows about my family. I told him on our 3rd date, nervous he'd think I was too damaged or complicated. He'd listened to the whole story. Then he'd said, "Your parents are idiots. You're incredible." We've been together for 8 months. He's met grandmother, Priya, Aunt Rachel. They love him. It's the healthiest relationship I've ever had. No drama, no games, just 2 people who respect each other and show up. It's still weird sometimes. Having someone who actually prioritizes me, who remembers the small things, who asks how my day was and means it. But I'm learning that this is what love is supposed to look like. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd kept quiet. If I'd accepted the $25 and moved on. If I'd swallowed the hurt and played the good daughter and never filed that lawsuit. I'd probably still talk to my parents. Vanessa would be married. The family would be intact, at least on the surface. But I'd be miserable, carrying the weight of their betrayal, pretending everything was fine. Instead, I chose the truth, and the truth cost me my family of origin. But it gave me something better. My dignity. 3 years later, I'm 25 years old. I have a PhD program I love, an apartment that's mine, a chosen family that shows up, a partner who values me. I'm debt-free, independent, building a life on my own terms. The empty chairs at my graduation were the beginning of the end, but they were also the beginning of something new. A life where I'm not invisible, where I'm not second best, where my achievements matter because I say they do, not because someone else validates them. My parents gave me $25 and expected me to disappear. Instead, I took them to court. won $145,000, and built a life they'll never be part of. The empty chairs are filled now, just not with them. And I'm okay with that. If you're listening to this and you see yourself in my story, if you've been dismissed, overlooked, financially exploited by the people who were supposed to protect you, I want you to know something. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're not being too sensitive. What happened to you was wrong. And you have the right to fight back. It won't be easy. It'll cost you relationships. It'll force you to choose between truth and peace. But peace without truth isn't peace. It's just silence. And you deserve better than silence. Document everything. Find your people. Get a lawyer if you need one. And don't let anyone convince you that family means accepting abuse. Real family shows up. Real family values you. Real family doesn't steal from you and call it love. 3 years ago, I had $25 and 2 empty chairs. Today, I have a life I built myself. With people who chose me, who see me. That's worth more than any settlement. This is Achiever Betrayed. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, your achievements matter. Even if your family doesn't see them. You see them. That's enough.